Hello and welcome to the live telecast from www.ThePapare.com. We are bringing you CR taking on Army in the fourth game of the league, and would be the last game of this weekend's rugby. And to take you through this, we have Shanaka and Abdullah. Good evening, Shanaka.
Good evening, Sudarshan. Thanks very much. Overcast but humid conditions here at the racecourse grounds. Will be nice and soft underfoot. That's something that these both forward packs will be looking forward to in nice wet weather to play this game. The rain has held off. The ground has drained nicely, and it looks like it's good conditions underfoot. We might see a bit of slipperiness when the scrums come together. That's the only problem, and the ball will also be a little slippery. So both teams warming up. 4 o'clock kickoff is the start time that we have scheduled, and that's in about 10 minutes from now. A sparse crowd so far across the racecourse grounds. It'll be good to see the seats filling up a little bit more for this biggest game of the Dialog Rugby season so far. Army playing CR&FC. It's going to be a tough clash. We've seen some one-sided wins in the championship already, with Navy, Havelocks and Kandy registering big wins in the tournament, but this one is going to be a more competitive game, Abdullah.
Yes, good afternoon everyone, and yes, Shanaka, I think we're in for a very exciting game. For both teams, it will be their first game for the season. It's always a very nervous occasion for the players and the coaching staff as well, and I'm sure both teams will want to kickstart their season on a winning note. Very pleasant conditions, as you mentioned, Shanaka, ideal for rugby. Just a bit of concern probably with the underfoot conditions. We'll have to see how teams adjust to that, because just watching the first 3 matches of this season, at least other than the Kandy CH game, which is pretty much a one-sided game, I don't think all the other 4 teams actually adjusted to the conditions. They just try to play the normal way you'd play when the underfoot conditions would be dry. So I think that's going to be a critical part in this game, especially this open stadium that we have here at the racecourse. It's always adjusting to the conditions will be a crucial factor, and sometimes the team that does that first will probably have an upper hand.
Well, they've got a few matches to learn from that Navy versus Police game. You could see Police just didn't have a handle on how to approach that game, and Navy were much better in trying to do that. It's about playing for territory and asking your opposition to make a mistake if they can, and that's exactly what CR&FC, with the big boot of their fly half Tharinder Ratwata, will come out and try and do. But for the same token, Ashant Bandara from Army, who has been coached by these Fijians in the close season. It'll be interesting to see how the Fijian philosophy will come across in the Army team today, Abdullah, because they're a side they're a team that like to play with the ball in hand, and whether they've tried to inculcate that philosophy in the Army and whether that might cause them to come unstuck is a question that we'll see answered in the first 20 minutes or so.
Yes, well, I believe the Army coach was there with the team last season as well. So I'm sure a bit of that Fijian influence or the Fijian flair probably would have rubbed on to the Army team. But I think just with these conditions and with the underfoot conditions being slightly soggy, they need to choose their moments, not from the outset try and run the ball from everywhere like you would do on a normal sunny day. But they've got to pick their moments, probably play a bit more of a territorial game, try and get into the opponent's half and then trying to launch attacks. Because it's not a kind of it's not the kind of conditions where you'd want to play too much rugby in your own half.
One thing about this racecourse ground, Abdullah, is picturesque as it is and as wonderful a facility as it is, and it's an international rugby stadium now, and it's great to see that Army are allowing more people access to their games by playing here rather than in Panagoda, where a lot of people apart from Army supporters would find it really difficult to travel. It's great to see them here, but this ground is actually probably one of the slowest underfoot, isn't it? It's quite spongy, and you don't get the ball bouncing a long distance, and at the same time you don't get your speedsters a real chance to stretch their legs and get that hard ground under their feet. So even in the best of conditions, it's a slower ground than most other grounds. So maybe that might come into play today as well with the kick chasers.
Yes, especially when it rains, and I think drainage sometimes the ground tends to hold on to a bit of water and it doesn't drain as much as you would like. But having said that, it is a ground that if you make a conscious effort, you can speed the game up. But again, you've just got to be selective on how you do that. You've just got to get into your opponent's half first, try and be in that half, and while applying pressure, try and play a bit of a running game, because if you try and run from your own half, it can cause also pressure on yourself.
Here's the Army starting lineup. Ashoka Jayalal is the man who led them last year. Aravinda Karunaratne and Sampath Rose are the experienced front row. Nalaka Madhuranga, Nishanta Kobbekadwa, Chamira Silva, Vinod Kumar, Manoj De Silva captains the side from number 8. Mohammad Rizvi and Ashan Bandara, a tried and tested halves combination. Iranga Aryapala and Kasun Madhuranga in the centres. Danushka Talwat alongside them. Sudaraka Dikkumbara, who is a real speedster, and Shanaka Kumara makes a comeback. He used to play for the Red Shirts as well, so he's opposite them this time around at fullback. He will probably be helping out with the place kicking as well. And here's a lineup for CR&FC led by Shane Samadapperuma. Supun Vannakala Surya makes a comeback after a long injury layoff. Kokila Samadapperuma, so two brothers in the front row. Kaan Jayamana, Ishan Mohammed, Tariq Sali, Shaukat Lahir, Omalka Gunaratna, Kavindu Costa, Tarinder Atwat, Sashan Mohammed on the left wing. Amila Bandara partners with Rehan Silva in the centres. Randita Varnapura crosses over from Havelocks to CR&FC, and Riza Mubarak, the experienced kicker, makes up the 15 for the CR&FC. So quite a few injuries there in that CR lineup, Abdullah. It's especially the absence of Kushan Indunil from the centre combination. Then Thisila Karunatilaka has gone down injured as well. They're missing Rojana Hettiarachi and lots of wingers as well who are not been chosen up. And then we've got in the first choice centre combinations as well. In the first choice second row combinations as well. You've got guys like Panduka Angammana and Shamal Veerasekara, who are missing from the starting lineup. So it's going to be a tough one for CR&FC this today as well, as we see the replacements. Nanakara, Adhikaram, Vikramanayaka, Jayaratna, Senanayaka, Imanka Aryapala dropped to the bench. Mahesh Veerasinghe and Gayan Salim, the last year starting fullback. And for CR&FC, Ravin Yapa, the Pete Wright, Shamir Fajuddin, Zayan Sabah, the Wesley captain, and playing his first season. Dilanka Pereira, Shemal Veerasekar is on the bench. Dilan Soiza, the experienced scrum half, Ashan De Costa and Prince Chamara.
Yes, Shanika, just looking at both lineups, I think CR have got some exciting talent in their ranks. Especially keen to see how the third row goes. They have got Tariq Sali, Shaukat Lahir and Umar Kumunratna, who has shifted from Navy. I'd like to see how they go, because it's a very exciting third row combination, and it'll be interesting to see how well they settle and they complement each other. It's a good long-term investment for CR, and I'm sure if they can hang on to these players for a period of time, I think it augurs well for the club going forward.
Actually, looking at all those 5 players in the centre of the park there for CR&FC, Abdullah, looking at Tariq Sali, captain of St. Joseph's a couple of seasons ago, Shaukat Lahir, who was that really underrated defensive player from Royal, Omalka Gunaratha, the highly rated ball carrier from Isipatana, Kavindu De Costa, also from Isipatana, who is an outstanding scrum half, suffered a bad shoulder injury a couple of seasons ago, and Tarinder Atwat, the former Trinity captain as well. So a real young core of the team there for CR&FC, but remains to be seen whether experience is something that you need in club rugby, even in your first season, whether it's something that can pull you back despite all the talent, because we saw Sandesh Jayavikrama for Police on against Navy, and he was having a real tough time of it, given the speed of the game and the physicality of the game, in the way that club rugby is played. You think that'll hamper CR&FC this season?
Not particularly so. I mean, if you see guys like Kavindu and Tarinda, they have at the start, Tarinda had a full season last year, and I thought he was quite brilliant in the knockout stages, and I think he virtually single-handedly carried that team into the final last year. So he's got quality. I don't see too much problems with that. It's just that Tariq Sali and Shaukat Lahir sometimes tend to be more or less similar players. So whether they will be playing right, left, or open and or 6 and 7 the traditional way will be interesting to see. But I think overall Omalka as well, just coming back to him, he has already gone colours at 15s and 7s at national level. So I don't see, while they are young, I think they've got a bit of experience under their belt, so I'm sure the club will be expecting a lot from them.
ThePapare is the man in charge for this for his first game of this Dialog Rugby League Championship. The CR in their red shirts, their brand new spanking jerseys, with their new sponsors across their chests as well, and the Army team, who will know that this is a scalp they can take, Abdullah. This is a CR team that's been beatable in the past, and Army know if they can start this campaign on a high, there might be just a second place in it for them.
Yes, and it's always good to take one of the top dogs earlier on, because CR will be very tentative as well. First game of the season, probably finding their feet, finding their combinations. It's always an ideal time for an underdog to try and cause an upset.
Well, nice to see Tharindra Ratwata having a small wave at the opposition. Smile on his face. Riza Mubarak also with a smile talking to ThePapare. Those smiles will quickly go back in their pockets as the whistle goes, and we're underway in this Army versus CR&FC clash. Beautifully taken by Kobak Adua for the Army. Nice lift, and we'll see what Army's exit strategy is like. Rizvi puts in the box kick, and that's a good tactic, but Riza is very safe under those and will look to play the territorial game. Looks for the space, but instead finds Sudaraka, who puts in a little grubber kick, and that was a good tactic from Shanaga Kumara. In fact, it was taken quickly by CR, and now Gayan Jayamana, who took that into contact, and CR&FC finally find the line out. So opening passage of play a little sketchy.
Yes, Shanika, but I think both teams seem to be making their intentions very clear. You saw from the breakdown situation both scrum halves going for the box kicks option. So you probably see both teams looking to earlier on at least try and play a bit of a territorial game rather than get bogged down in their own half.
CR also missing the services of Kavindu Pereira, who's not starting today. First line out for Army, and they do it easily in the form of Nalaka Madhuranga, who wins it at number 2. A nice long maul from the Army, keeping the ball well clear of the CR&FC defense. Mohammad Rizvi again shapes for that box kick. Well shielded by his forwards, and beautifully taken in the end by Dikkumbura. Absolutely no contest for him, and an outstanding chase. And this is where the All Blacks got completely undone yesterday by the Irish, because the chase and the pressure on the kicks was so good. And if Army keep chasing like that all day, Riza Mubarak will really have to attack that ball and marshal his back three well to avoid that pressure.
Yes, a good kick by the Army scrum half, but I think Sashan Mohammed on that occasion was just caught off guard a bit. He should have chased that and gone for the ball rather than waiting for the Army player to collect the ball. Fortunately for CR, the Army player knocked on, and they have possession once again.
Not the biggest pack for CR&FC, and Army much more experienced in the front row, but it seems to be holding the two Samada Peruma brothers. Not a great pass from Omalka Gunaratna to his scrum half, but a lovely kick put away. So a good plan there from CR, just 8, 9, 15, and put the ball in the corner. So nothing fancy. You don't need fancy stuff to win games.
Yes, Riza showing a bit of his experience on that occasion, saw that there was nothing on from that first phase play, so decided to put the ball back into Army territory, and I'm sure if CR can spoil this line out and try and retain possession, it would be an ideal launching pad for them.
Arvind Karunaratne to throw in. Well taken there in the end by Chamira Silva, the blindside flank. And Army have shown a willingness to maul this, and they'll do it all day if they have to. And the penalty comes. Not releasing, says the referee, and wasn't aware of a rule that needs you to release in a maul, but that's the call.
So far we've had 2 lineouts on Army's throw, and they have been very solid. CR haven't been able to exactly exert any pressure on that lineout. So it's important that CR, when they're kicking out to touch, also ensure that they try and keep the ball in play and try and make sure Army kicks the ball, because so far Army looked very solid when it comes to lineout time.
I was surprised there wasn't too much of a contest from CR at that lineout. It was an attacking lineout for them deep in the Army 22. That's when you need to pressure the thrower, and at least a token lift at number 2 or 4 will give the Army hooker something to think about. Again taken beautifully by Chamira Silva. Running a hard angle there was Kasun Maduranga. Good tackle on Jayalal there by Ratwatta. And here's Army with a little bit of space now. Dick Kubura comes back on the inside. Good tackle. Rehan Silva. It's turned it over by the looks of things. Yes, and Camilo Di Costa now has a bit of space to kick into. Not many people home for Army, and they really need to pressure Maduranga into this kick. Ashan Bandara, who had gotten back. And Riza Mubarak chasing up nicely. So Army under pressure now. Once again back where they started.
There's some really good turnover ball there, but I believe it was Ishan Noor, if I'm not mistaken, because Army seemed to have been on the front foot, but just saw that one opportunity and grabbed it, and that enabled CR to clear their lines and put Army again under pressure.
Once again, a third brilliant line out from Army. That one was taken by Nalaka Maduranga. Controlled at the back, so they've chosen to maul this again. That nice long maul that I was talking about earlier. And Rizvi now gives it to Kasun Maduranga, who seems to be the crash ball merchant of this Army side. Goes right away back for Ashan Bandara to clear, so he doesn't make a huge gain. And CR will be happy with that little exchange.
Yes, most importantly, they have got an opportunity to launch an auto attack probably about 10 meters out from their own 22. So it's important that CR start off. It's the first throw into the line out. See how Supunwarna Surya links up. They have gone for a shortened line out, 5-man line out. And it's pretty well executed. The ball goes down to Talinder Ratwata.
Ishan Noor winning that ball in the line out. Kavindu Di Costa gives it to Omalka Gunaratna. His first real run onto the ball for the day. Di Costa, Ratwata coming back infield. Was the CR winger Randita Varnapura. Di Costa goes cross field, throws the dummy and sees a half gap which closes pretty quickly. Ishan Noor now using all that experience to pick and go. Make sure he doesn't do anything too extravagant. And this is the plan, it looks like, from the CR team, to pick and go, to really put Army under pressure at the breakdown. Omalka Gunaratna has his jersey almost ripped off his back, and that has to be a penalty from Asoka Jayalal, who pulls the halfback into the ruck, but completely missed there by referee Dinka Piris.
Yes, nonetheless, good passage of play by CR. That's the first time I think in this game they had got any decent position, and there were some really nice pick and goes. They made some good territory, but unfortunately, just going for that option of the kick. But I think the CR the Army wing three-quarter had that well covered.
Got another opportunity from the line out, and it's a very important part of the game, isn't it, Abdullah? And the IRB, or the World Rugby laws, have made it very clear that you can't interfere with the halfback when he's trying to play the ball from a breakdown, and that would have probably led to Di Costa's decision to kick. Vandakula Surya taken nicely by Lahir. A low pass to Di Costa. Nice clearance to Tarinder Ratwata. Ratwata spots a gap and goes through. Army's defense holds in the second line. And that's a good ball out to Jayamana. Gayan Jayamana. Costa again. That's not a great pass, but picked up by the captain, Shane Samada Peruma. Gets his first chance. Here we are again through Ratwata. Mubarak. And Shrandita Varnapura just didn't communicate well enough with the player inside him. It's a decent pass. It could have been run onto by Varnapura and he would have had a bit of a gap, but already players not showing that intensity, and it's just the first 10 minutes.
Yes, probably both teams yet a bit tentative, finding their feet. But so far, what I've seen a little bit of CR, they're showing some good patterns in their play, a bit of understanding, and I'm sure as the game progresses, they will be able to put the finishing touches to most of those moves.
Once again, Army small, giving Rizvi some protection. Varnapura to Mubarak. Mubarak with the quick ball out to Sashan Mohammed to Amila Bandara, but that ball went forward, well spotted.
Yes, good pressure. Riza was in two minds whether to go for the kick or rather to run the ball, but decided to run it. But unfortunately for him, the Army defense was well up and there was just far too much pressure on Shashan Mohammed on that occasion, which forced him to send that pass forward. But so far, as you said, Shanaka, both teams yet gauging the situation, not being too expansive in how they go about this, which is understandable given the fact that this is the first game and the early stages of the game at that. But let's see how the game progresses as Army feeds into the scrum.
Manoj De Silva coming off the back there, but he had knocked on, raises his arm in acknowledgement and apologizes to the 7 men in front of him. So good to see that the captain is taking responsibility. But a good scrum from CR.
Yeah, very good scrum. I think at the start of the game we were a bit worried whether this Army pack would have a bit of a great advantage over the CR pack, considering it's also a very young pack, but I think so far they have done well, especially at scrum time.
Danushka Boteju, the forwards coach for the CR&FC team, assisting Ben McDougall, so he's a guy who knows a thing or two about scrummaging. Scrummage for the Red Shirts and Sri Lanka. And the captain, with his brother at tight head, will definitely want to put on a good showing. The former Wesleyites, another Wesleyite on the bench in the form of Zayan Sabah. And Ishan Noor with a lot of experience behind that front row. Abdullah will give a lot of support there.
Yes, he's captained the CR&FC on 2 occasions, so I'm sure with this young pack around him, his experience will prove vital.
Omalka Gunaratna dragged down in a good tackle by Chamira Silva. Around the bootlace is exactly where you have to tackle Omalka Gunaratna. Sashan Mohammed coming in off the left wing. Good pressure at the breakdown by Army. CR have to pile players in there to protect the ball. And now Samada Peruma to his brother Kokila. Gunaratna tries again. Army are not overawed by his presence. And that looked like the Army defensive line was way up in front of the last foot.
There's a bit of fancy work attempted on that occasion by Tarinder. Not sure whether it was totally necessary, looking for the inside pass. But unfortunately just didn't get that timing right, and I think the ball receiver was in front of him, which resulted in the ball going forward. But nonetheless, I think Army also, to their credit, are maintaining their discipline so far. I don't think they will get sucked into CR's attempt to try and go to the fringes and to try and extract a penalty, because I'm sure CR will also try and play to the penalty as much as possible, because they've got the country's #1 place kicker in their ranks as well, in Reza Mubarak. So Army will probably be very mindful of that, and I think they will need to be careful that they don't concede any penalties, especially in their own half, because Rizai, with the kind of range he has with his kicking ability, will be very dangerous.
Well, I think that spot is up for grabs at the start of this Dialog Rugby season, Abdullah, because Tirina Veerasinghe kicked really well for Navy against Police as well in much more difficult conditions. So Riza will definitely have noticed that and want to maintain his number one slot. And also yesterday we had Arshad Jamaldeen, who put his hand up and asked to be put in the leaderboard for number one kicker. Good, better scrum from Army. Rizvi. That pass also looked like it has gone forward. So interesting to see quite a few forward passes, Abdullah. And I remember Coach Grant Dwyer, who watched this one here. Coach Grant Dwyer, who you coached with for a while, used to always say 50% of the blame needs to go to the receiver.
Yes, but it's also the kind of patterns which you're trying to play on. If you see CR and Army, they're trying to play a very flat line because they're trying to run at certain angles. When you do that, you're always playing a very percentage game, and if you don't execute it and if the coordination is not right, then I think you will put yourself under pressure to commit an error. So that's what seems to be happening at present.
Kamindu feeds. Amarka Gunaratne leaves this now for his scrum half. Amila Bandara with a nice straight run. What an underrated player he has been for CI. If he stays fit, they could have a good find. And interesting penalty call there by referee Dinka Piris. If you can see that again, we'll show you exactly what offense he's calling there. It's going off your feet at the ruck. So the arriving players on the attacking side, you can see Jayamana taking it forward, and then going off his feet there was Tariq Sali. Didn't really prevent a contest for the ball, I don't think, but the referee applying the letter of the law. Sashan Mohammed does well to recover it from the initial fumble, and Mubarak puts a high up and under, fielded nicely by Mohammed Rizvi. And now Shanaka Kumara, recovered from his knee injury, will thump this one back to Ratwata. Ratwata looks to run, not sure that was the best option. Kavindu De Costa now has to look for someone to clear his lines because Ratwata is still inside that ruck. Does it himself, and the chase is good from Sia. Shanaka Kumara gets hammered as he collects it. Good counter ruck from Ishan Noor there. And that was not good enough because it came from the side, says referee Piris. And Mohammed Rizvi takes it quickly. CR&FC regroup. Army through Kobek Adua. And a nice little grubber through. But Mubarak has it well read, but the chase is excellent from Army once again. And here's Omarka Gunaratne now with a bit of space, spots the gap, and Tarinder Ratwata asks Sashan Mohammed to come up in support. Nice 1-2 between the two players. And the two Trinitians combine down the left flank to give CR&FC the first try of the evening. Beautifully spotted there by Omarka Gunaratne. I thought for all money that he was going to crash into the player like he does 99 times out of 100. But he made the pass, and that's a really good score from CR off turnover ball.
Yes, absolutely against the run of the play, wasn't it, Shanaka? But again, as you very correctly mentioned, I think Omalka just had the vision to see that he had numbers out wide. He could have very well gone into contact. As we have a look at this replay, beautifully drawn pass, and look how Tarinder again realigned himself to get that inside pass and go over. So just shows the understanding of the game, the ability to read situations and just execute your skills of the game, as Riza comfortably puts that kick over for CR to get first lease of this game and start off with 7 points to 0 lead.
Well, the first try for CR&FC in the 2016-17 season, but Army shouldn't be too upset by that because they were in the ascendancy. It was just a quick ball that got turned over that resulted in that, and it was good pressure that they were exerting until then, so I don't think they've got to change anything.
No, not at all. I think so far their line-out play, scrums to a certain extent have been solid. It's just that I think they need to probably look at playing with a bit more width, especially when they get into the CR half, rather than just going into contact a bit too often. But other than that, I think yet everything is there to play for.
Ashan Bandara restarts, kicks it straight to Omalka Gunaratna. Kavindra De Costa marshalling his troops, asking for a little bit of protection on his right foot. Randita Varnapura waits for the chase and will put some pressure on Manoj De Silva, who leaves it behind. Doesn't want to take it first up, and Shanaka Kumara now. He's got some pace, he used to play on the wing. And again, you see those players with their hands on the ground completely sealing it off. So if the referee is going to be consistent, he needs to call that as well. So if we can see that previous ruck, we'll show you exactly what the problem was.
Yes, I think one thing is consistency on one hand, Shanaka, but the other thing is if it's not getting in the way of the opposition playing the ball, you've got to let it go. Because if you keep on blowing...
So you watch it there, you see those two Army players with their elbows on the ground there as well, preventing any kind of contest for the CR players trying to ruck. And if the referee was going to blow a penalty against Tariq Saleh earlier, which he was correct to do, then that was a penalty all day. Gunaratna goes off the back again. Chamira Silva seems to have his number this time though. And now Ishan Noor lays it back, but brilliant steal from the Army player, outstanding work. Got his head down and managed to get his arms across the ball quickly. Ashan Bandara, or Kasun Maduranga rather, who was running off the number 2, Asoka Jalal, moves his scrum half out of the way and says, "I'll take this one, mate." And now the forwards have decided that they will rumble this one up for a few phases. Vinod Kumar. And well stolen there by Supun Vannakalasuriya. And again, Army players falling all over that ball. Referee says that's okay. Shaukat Lahir now gets his first run for the season in a red shirt. Kavindra De Costa looks up, sees a flat defensive line from Army and decides to take them on. Pratwatha, Rehan Silva and Sashan Mohammed chase up hard on Shanaka Kumara. They make the tackle on the Sashan Mohammed on his former Upcountry Lions teammate. And there's some space now for Army if they can spot it. Mohammed Rizvi did, but it closed quickly. And Rehan Silva makes a good tackle. That could have been dangerous for CR down the short side. Rizvi now. Ashan Bandara waits for it on his right boot. Takes his time and thumps it straight down the pitch. And Ratwat grabs it and throws a lovely long flat pass in field. And now CR&FC have a little bit of a chance on the opposite side of the pitch. This is Randita Varnapura getting dragged down by Kobbak Adua. But there's a knock forward in there. So Army have had plenty of defending to do up till that point. But Kobbak Adua with an important tackle on Randita Varnapura to stop what would have been a certain try if he had let him go. In fact, it was the big prop Sampath Rosa who made that tackle.
Yes, CR looking to show a bit more intent, especially when it comes to the counter-attack, Shanaka, and Reza seems to be linking up well with his two wing three-quarters, and Tarinder also seems to be dropping back well as well. I think CR from their part just need to try and control the pace a bit more. I think they're just trying to do a bit too much on certain occasions and tend to lose the ball, because one thing they have is a bit more game nonce than this Army team. And if they can rely on that, then I think they should be able to comfortably see this game through.
Kasun Maduranga again hitting it up the middle. Here's Kobbak Adua now. Rizvi. Dummies. Here's Sampath Rosa now. Army doing playing a lot of rugby just in front of their own 22, and Rizvi deciding to get out of that area. Mubarak, under pressure from Dik Kumra, decides to put it up and almost manages to get it back, Riza, but 2 knock-ons, so the referee will have to come back for the first one.
Yes, both scrum-offs, I think, are making their intentions very clear. They are trying their best to get into a situation where they can clear their lines and get into the opposition half. And so far, Costa as well as Mohammad Rizvi have been executing the box kick extremely well.
It's a nice scrum for Army. It's not in the correct half of the field, but it's in a good centre field position. This is the test for Omalka Gunaratne and Tariq Sali. Army changing direction. Madhuranga, Bandara. And putting in the kick there was Sudaraka Dikkumbara on the left-hand side of the field. And Reza Mubarak says thanks very much, and from inside his 22, thumps it deep down the field. So you can catch all the sporting news on ThePapare.com, on social media. We're on SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever social media platform. Catch ThePapare.com.
It's just inside Army territory, and they've been very solid in their lineouts so far in this game. Shanaka, another great opportunity for them to launch another attack.
Again, beautifully taken by Nalaka Madhuranga, showing real basketball rebounding skills there. But good tackle by Omalka Gunaratne. Again, an aspect of his game that he will be wanting to work on, the defensive part of it. And the ruck was formed, so Jayamana cannot go in after it. Referee right on the spot.
Yes, very clear. I think there were 2 offences on that occasion, Shanaka. One, I think the ruck was formed, and the other one was he was definitely not supporting his body weight. So a chance for Army to get into the CR22 and launch another attack. It'll be interesting to see the option they will take, because they have had 100% accuracy and a success rate at line-out time. I think a rolling maul from this kind of situation will test this CR pack.
Yes, Aravinda Karunaratne, the Army hooker, hasn't shown any nerves so far, but this is when it becomes important, when they're on the attacking end, whether the pressure will be a little too much. So CR&FC setting up to drive that maul back, not to contest a line out, and just as we speak, Abdullah, the throwing lets them down.
Yes, I think I did the commentator's curse on them, didn't I, Shanaka? Up until that point, it was a 100% success record, but nonetheless, I think Omalka unfortunately knocked that ball on. So they have got a scrum, another from a great attacking opportunity for Army. It'll be interesting to see the option they will take. Will they go for a number 8 break, set it up and run, or will they go for a free-flowing 3-quarter move?
Well, there's a nice inviting short side as well. Kavindu Costa looks like he's just spotted that and asking for one of his defenders to move over. Sali makes a good tackle on Manoj Silva, but slips off him. Those tackles need to be completed. Here's Kobak Adwa. It's a good pass out to Kasun Madhuranga, shows the dummy, and he's straight through. Needed to look for the pass. Kasun Madhuranga, that ball seems to have gone forward. Not releasing, says the referee, and points at Tariq Sali, the culprit, or Tarindra Ratwata. That was straight through the middle. Not great defense from Rehan Silva there. And Madhuranga looked like he might have lost this one forward in the tackle. And Tarindra Ratwata gets a little stamp on his back for good measure from Manoj Silva.
There's another great attacking opportunity for Army. They have made some inroads into this CR defense, but I think this is probably the best attacking opportunity they've had in this game so far, Shanak. And again, the short side looks extremely inviting, doesn't it?
Yes, Silva. Now Sali makes a better tackle this time. see what went on there again.
Yes, I think the arm play on that occasion went over the line, but the referee was unsure whether there was a clean grounding or whether there was an actual knock-on. So he's gone for a TMO referral. So let's see what comes up on that occasion. It looks like he's referred to the touch judge, Shanak, and the touch judge very correctly has said that it was a knock-on. So close shave for CR on that occasion as we have a look at the replay.
Here's a tackle that needed to be completed there properly. Omalka Gunaratne goes in after it. Tariq Sali was not bound, and here's Chamira Silva who goes in, and Shaukat Lahir it was who forced a tackle. But once again the short tap was on the 5 meter. Was Lahir back the 5 to make the tackle? If not, it should even have been a yellow card, really. So Army unlucky not to have that at least discussed, whether Shaukat Lahir was back the required 5 meters. If we can go back and just see that short tap again after this scrum, we'll see whether he got away with something. Good scrum that time from CR, and Omalka Gunaratne comes away with it. Goes laterally, runs away from his supporting forwards. But gives enough room and time for Tarinder Ratwata to clear. But that run looked good, but you're going closer towards the middle of the field, which gives the scrum half a little bit more to do than the fly half. This is the previous scrum, but we wanted to see the short tap where the penalty was awarded. So this is where it happens. The penalty is awarded on the 5 meter line. And Lahir, yep, he was okay. He was absolutely fine. He went back behind the 5 meter line and came back. So now we're back live. Kasun Maduranga, Manoj Silva, Asoka Jalal. Here's Shanaka Kumara with like great hands to Sudaraka Dikkumbura. Ashan Bandara. This is better from Army. Knocked the ball on, but the line was offside, says the referee very correctly. It looked like the CR line speed was just too good to be true there.
Yes, a good phase of play by Army on that occasion. They were getting quick ball. CR were unable to slow that down, and the defense realignment was caught napping on that occasion. And as you saw, that very clearly, I think it was Lahir. Supun Varnakulasuri on that occasion, who just charged just before rather than retreating behind the hindmost foot in that ruck. So an opportunity for Army to get some points on the board. I think it will be very well deserved because they have threatened the CR try line on many occasions, and it would have been a pity from their point of view if they hadn't come out with any points from that effort.
Yes, they've been camped in this part of the field for quite a while now. And Shanaka Kumara will strike this nice and clean through the uprights. And Army have their first points of the Dialog Rugby A Division League season through the boot of Shanaka Kumara, playing against his old team.
Well, so far in this game, Shanak, I think CR seem to have dominated proceedings, but I think they will be a bit disappointed that their returns have just been that one try by Tarinder Ratwata, and it's not enough, isn't it, to just get into the half and exert pressure if you don't convert that into points, because somewhere down the line the opposition is going to come and punish you if you are unable to make maximum use of your territorial advantage.
Yes, I think CR have very much relaxed after that first score, Abdullah. Knock forward, they're playing advantage here. Not a great pass out to Sashan Mohammed, so they'll go all the way back for the knock forward. But this is where they really need to up the intensity. CR&FC are playing at a very lethargic pace at the moment, and that's a problem for them. They need to really up the intensity. Everybody's walking around, taking their time, getting to places, and if you want to put pressure on the opposition, this is not how to do it.
Yes, and especially you build up a few phases and you got the opposition on the back foot. That's the time you've actually got to really step it up, because the opposition defense is not as organized as we would find it in first phase play. So CR have done the hard work, but when it comes to the part where they actually have to push on, I think they just haven't been able to force the issue.
Here's Omaka Gunaratne. That's a forward pass again from Riza Mubarak. Had the dummy runner, and Kavinda De Costa chose to go behind him, and again Varnapura just in front of his receiver. You watch a good pass here from Kavinda De Costa. Even there Riza had to take it behind him, and that pass was clearly forward.
Yes, with this attacking method that a lot of teams use now, which we call the decoy runner, I think the person who comes behind that decoy runner has to take the ball much more flatter if he has to gain any advantage. Riza on that occasion was slightly a bit too much behind getting that ball in the defensive line. I think that forced the wing three-quarter Varnapura to come a bit more flatter than he would have liked.
Here he is again, smashed in the tackle from Manoj, from Chamira Silva. And beautiful turnover that time from Nalaka Madhuranga for Army. Now they pile in. And the penalty is coming again. Tackler not releasing, says Dinka Piris. And Kokila Hiran Samada Perume has a smile of resignation on his face as he goes back.
Well, that was absolutely the correct call, Sean. First of all, he didn't release the tackle, and second of all, he was on his stomach. So referee Dinka Piris on that occasion getting that call absolutely right. So just getting back to the point we were talking to earlier, Shanaka, CR get themselves into good situations, but just don't seem to be able to finish it off, and they need to be a bit careful, because as the game goes on, the Army starts getting a bit of confidence. CR could be under a bit of pressure if they don't have points on the board, which would give them that cushion.
Yes, it's come to this is the 35th minute of play, and just to remind you that you mustn't miss out on Cricketry, the quick analysis by Roshan Abesing on the Sri Lanka vs Zimbabwe series, brought to you at the end of each game. Army through another good line out this time. Crashing onto it was Madhuranga. Rizvi now. Another superb run onto the ball at pace from Asoka Jayalal. This is better from Army. And the referee's been consistent this time, and Army will go back just as frustrated as CR did the last time. Here's a follow-up player, Chamira Silva coming, going straight over the top again, not preventing a contest because there were no CR players contesting the ball, Abdullah. So while he's got it right by the letter of the law, I'm not sure it's the call that needs to be made.
Yes, I think on that occasion, actually, Asoka Jayalal should be blamed, Shankar, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Karunaratne was ready to he had got a firm base rather than going over, but Jayalal just came and pushed him over. And unfortunately, that was right in front of the referee. So CR, a bit fortunate, but nonetheless have got an opportunity to launch another attack. They need to make this count, and just before halftime, if they can get some form of points to extend this 7 points they've scored so far, will do them a lot of good.
Again, the attack happening almost at half pace. Jayamana, he has been doing quite a bit of ball carrying. Not a familiar name in the CR shirt. Supun Vannakulasuriya showing that his lateral movement is back at 100%. Stepping and coming back in the field. And once again, Army's line speed excellent there through Chamira Silva, who was outstanding in defense. And now chasing through quickly is Aryapala. Beats everyone to the ball. And that was a bit of a shambolic bit of defensive play from Sashan Mohammed. But Arya Parler's rule to have knocked it on despite a lot of hard work.
Yes, another opportunity squandered by CR. I think Tariq Saleh on that occasion just taking his eyes off the ball. The pass again was very flat, and that caused the turnover. And absolutely the correct choice by Rizvi to thump the ball right down. There was no one quite at the back to collect that, and a fantastic chase by number 14, Di Kumbar on that occasion. Arya Parler rather, sorry. So CR a bit fortunate that Arya Parler on that occasion deemed to have knocked the ball on. So we've got the center scrum just about 10 meters outside CR's 22. It'll be interesting to see the option they will take. Will they try and run it? They've got options on both sides since it's the center scrum. Or will they go for territory?
So again, the game progressing at a fairly pedestrian pace. Army will not be too upset about that because they want to go into half time with just a one score in between them. Amalka Gunaratna now again goes laterally. Amila Bandara was expecting the ball, didn't get it. Again, Army really doing some spoiling work at the breakdown, preventing CR&FC getting any flow in their game. And the kick through from Di Costa to Rizvi. Randita Varnapura being given a bit of a run around by Mohammad Rizvi. And Riza Mubarak will look for the touch finder. And as Abdullah has been saying for the last 5 minutes or so, CR&FC really need to get a score on the board to have something to show for this 40 minutes of rugby that they have played. Would be unfair to call them the better side in the first 40 minutes because Army have played well, although they are ahead on the scoreboard. Short line out this time. Lahir and Noor will be one of the two recipients. Vannakula Surya finally recovers the ball and will go to the back through Ishan Noor. Beautifully done. Mohammad Rizvi coming straight through before the line out was over. Referee allowing that to go. Here's Gayan Jayamana. Eventually brought down to his feet and the ball stolen away. Tariq Saleh makes a tackle on his opposite number. And Big Kobak Adu has been doing quite a bit of running, and that's half time. Referee Dinka Piris calls for the half time break, and looks like the players, it couldn't have come any quicker for the players. They seem to be enjoying this just as much as we are, because it has been a fairly pedestrian half of rugby from both teams. Not a lot of entertainment, lots of errors, partly probably due to the underfoot conditions, but a lot of errors that could be minimized. Things like forward passes, knock forwards that the coaches will really be tearing their hair out about.
Yes, also I think you could probably excuse him slightly in the sense, as we were talking at the start of the game, it's the first game of the season, so both teams are probably trying to find their combinations, probably trying to find their feet, what best suits them. But I think overall both teams can't be totally happy, but going into the second half, everything to play for. CR just up by a try by Tharinder Ratwata, converted by Riza Mubarak, and Army SC replying with a penalty.
It's the fourth match of the Dialog Rugby League season 2016-17. We'll be back after the halftime break at the racecourse.
Why are you worried about data? Dialog Home Broadband now gives double data at night.
Then there'll be a thumping bill for sure.
No, you get double the data for free.
Sha!
Sri Lanka's #1 and fastest internet connection now gives you double the data at night.
Data double!
Dialog, the future today.
Sri Lanka is now connected to the globe like never before. The 100G plus Bay of Bengal Gateway Submarine Fibre Optic Cable now delivers the single largest infusion of global bandwidth to Sri Lanka at a capacity of 6.4 terabits per second.
Don't be constrained. Be versatile, be flexible. You have the power. Set talk time, SMS and data quotas to match your style and enjoy the full potential of your mobile package. It's my plan from Dialog. Absolute power to you.
To create your own plan, visit www.dialog.lk/myplan or call 1777 for more information.
Dialog Television හඳුන්වා දෙන Dialog TV Go දැන් ඔබේ smart devices වලට ඕන වෙලාවක ඕන තැනක ඕනම network එකකින් තෝරා ගන්නට channel 40කටත් වැඩියෙන්. Rewind හා catch up TV පහසුකම් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම නොමිලේ. ඔබේ Android උපංගයට Dialog Viv app එක download කර Dialog TV Go click කරන්න. නැතිනම් ඔබේ iOS උපංගෙන් Dialog TV Go search කර download කිරීමට get click කරන්න. ඔබ කොතැනද TV එතන. Dialog Television ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ අංක 1 ටෙලිවිෂන් රසස්වාදය. Video ලෝකේ රේසිසේ සැරිසරන්න Dialog වෙතින් ලංකාවේ වාසිදායකම night time data package GB 3ක් රුපියල් 95කට activate කිරීමට INT 95 type කර 678ට SMS කරන්න. ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ අංක 1 සහ වේගවත්ම ජාලය සමග live එකම connected, live එකම smart.
Introducing the Ultra 99 postpaid package from Dialog. Say everything you want to say with the ultra benefits of extra talk time, extra SMS and extra data at a monthly rental of just 99 rupees only. Dialog, the future today. Why are you worried about data? Dialog Home Broadband now gives double data at night.
Then there'll be a thumping bill for sure.
No, you get double the data for free.
Sha!
Sri Lanka's #1 and fastest internet connection now gives you double the data at night.
Data double!
Dialog, the future today.
Sri Lanka is now connected to the globe like never before. The 100G plus Bay of Bengal Gateway Submarine Fibre Optic Cable now delivers the single largest infusion of global bandwidth to Sri Lanka at a capacity of 6.4 terabits per second.
Don't be constrained. Be versatile, be flexible. You have the power. Set talk time, SMS and data quotas to match your style and enjoy the full potential of your mobile package. It's my plan from Dialog. Absolute power to you.
To create your own plan, visit www.dialog.lk/myplan or call 1777 for more information.
Dialog Television හඳුන්වා දෙන Dialog TV Go දැන් ඔබේ smart devices වලට ඕන වෙලාවක ඕන තැනක ඕනම network එකකින් තෝරා ගන්නට channel 40කටත් වැඩියෙන්. Rewind හා catch up TV පහසුකම් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම නොමිලේ. ඔබේ Android උපංගයට Dialog Viv app එක download කර Dialog TV Go click කරන්න. නැතිනම් ඔබේ iOS උපංගෙන් Dialog TV Go search කර download කිරීමට get click කරන්න. ඔබ කොතැනද TV එතන. Dialog Television ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ අංක 1 ටෙලිවිෂන් රසස්වාදය. වීඩියෝ ලෝකයේ රෙසිසේ සැරිසරන්න ඩයලොග් වෙතින් ලංකාවේ වාසිදායකම night time data package GB 3ක් රුපියල් 95කට ඇක්ටිවේට් කිරීමට INT 95 ටයිප් කර 678ට SMS කරන්න. ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ අංක එකේ සහ වේගවත්ම ජාලය සමග ලයිෆ් එකම connected, ලයිෆ් එකම smart.
Introducing the Ultra 99 postpaid package from Dialog. Say everything you want to say with the ultra benefits of extra talk time, extra SMS and extra data at a monthly rental of just 99 rupees only. Dialog, the future today.
Why are you worried about data? Dialog Home Broadband now gives double data at night.
Then there'll be a thumping bill for sure.
No, you get double the data for free.
Sha!
Sri Lanka's #1 and fastest internet connection now gives you double the data at night.
Data double.
Dialog, the future today.
Sri Lanka is now connected to the globe like never before. The 100G plus Bay of Bengal Gateway submarine fiber optic cable now delivers the single largest infusion of global bandwidth to Sri Lanka at a capacity of 6.4 terabits per second.
Don't be constrained. Be versatile, be flexible. You have the power. Set talk time, SMS and data quotas to match your style and enjoy the full potential of your mobile package. It's my plan from Dialog. Absolute power to you.
To create your own plan, visit www.dialog.lk/myplan or call 1777 for more information.
Dialog Television හඳුන්වා දෙන Dialog TV Go දැන් ඔබේ smart devices වලට ඕන වෙලාවක ඕන තැනක ඕනම network එකකින් තෝරා ගන්නට channel 40කටත් වැඩියෙන්. Rewind හා catch up TV පහසුකම් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම නොමිලේ. ඔබේ Android උපංගයට Dialog View app එක download කර Dialog TV Go click කරන්න. නැතිනම් ඔබේ iOS උපංගෙන් Dialog TV Go search කර download කිරීමට get click කරන්න. ඔබ කොතැනද TV එතන. Dialog Television ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ අංක එකේ ටෙලිවිෂන් රසස්වාදය.
Welcome back to the racecourse grounds here at Reed Avenue as we see the Army team trudging back out onto the pitch. They're still just one score away from a CR team who has scored a try against a run of play but not had much else to show for their team in these first 40 minutes of their 2016-17 season. Army have been threatening. Their line-out has been brilliant. They've had a few occasions where they've broken the CR&FC line. They just had no finish. And in terms of actual time in the opposition half, Army would probably be leading by a considerable margin at the moment as we wait for the CR team to come out. What words in the two camps, Abdullah, do you think at halftime?
Well, probably be from CR's point of view, the execution has to be a bit more accurate, Shanika. They've got themselves into good positions to try and add on points, but there have been some small errors. Either they have knocked the ball on or they've thrown a forward pass. So I'm sure Ben McDougall would have told the boys that they've just got to be a bit more accurate in their execution. Army, on the other hand, they have just been very aggressive in defense. The good old Army style, they have put a lot of pressure on CI and not given them much opportunity to attack. And I'm sure as the game goes on, if it remains close, I think the CR boys will probably feel the pressure much more because they've been favorites for this game. They have everything to lose, and Army from those kind of situations will be very dangerous. So I think CR, it's important that within the first 20 minutes of this half, they try and extend this lead in some form or the other. Because if, as the game gets closer to the end and it's within a one-score difference, Army will definitely fancy their chances.
Yes, indeed. Pressure is how it's absorbed is the name of the game. They don't have a lot of experience to bring on off the bench either. CR&FC got Ashan DeCosta, of course, who has plenty of experience, as Ashan Bandara. does well to flat ball, which is collected eventually by Omalka Gunaratne. And Kavindu de Costa, that box kick that we've seen from both scrum halves over the course of the last 40 minutes. It's beautifully weighted, and Manoj de Silva thinks that it's going out on the full, but it bounces just inside the field of play. That was pretty lucky for Kavindu.
Yes, both scrum halves, Rizvi as well as Kavindu, have executed the box kicks very well throughout this game, and that they have relieved pressure for their teams on numerous occasions.
Manoj Silva is not a huge fan of the high ball. If he had kept one foot across the line and taken that, he could have taken it all the way back to where Kavindu kicked it from. So again, Army using that rolling maul off every line out almost. Ishan Noor complaining of an eye gouge there. That could be pretty serious. And again, real miscommunication there. And now Army have it through Madhuranga. Madhuranga gives it to Aryapala. And Imanka Aryapala will score the first try for Army. Excellent work on the kick. Bad communication between the winger Randita Varnapura and Kavindu de Costa. And Army pouncing through Bandara, and Iranga Aryapala scoring the first try for Army to take them into what will almost certainly be a lead.
Yes, not what Sia wanted, just with the kick-off on that occasion, but full credit to Army. I think they have made a very clear statement. They're going to up the intensity in this game, and Sia on that occasion, probably a bit of lap of
Shanaka Kumara will probably add the extra points easily. He's a good enough kicker to get these points for sure. So from that rolling maul, Army really hitting Sia hard. And Shanaka Kumara takes Army out into the lead for the first time in this game in the 43rd minute.
just the start Army would have liked, and it's not what Sia would have wanted. So Army going into the lead for the first time in this game, just 2.5 minutes into the second half. It's very important that Sia now get into the Army territory, get into the Army half and try and get some possession and be a bit more consistent in their attacking play. They have done the hard work by making the initial inroads, but just haven't been able to see it through.
Yes, this game will probably be decided in the last 20 minutes when the benches will come into play. Ishan Noor seems to have recovered there on the left side of the screen from what he was certainly complaining about inside that maul. He was holding his eye, so not sure what exactly it was. Suput Mandakalusuriya. Will that try galvanize the CR team into a bit more urgency? Shaukat Lahir. And that's not great body position from CR&FC. They're held easily by the Army team. Still going though. Here's Tarinder Atwata trying to spin it wide, and here's Randita Varnapura coming in off the right wing. That looked like a short side open there, and Tariq Salih gets smashed back in a wave of Army defenders. Here's Ratwata, gives it to Jayamana, who has been one of the chief ball carriers for CR so far. Sashan Mohammed finds himself inside the heavy traffic, and here's Kavindu, gives it across to Shane Samada Peruma gives it to Supun Mandakalusuriya, dancing down the touchline. Riza Mubarak brought down 5 meters away, and here's Kavindu de Costa. Saw the Army lines shoot up offside, so he's taken it into contact. Now they need a scrum half, and here's Mohammed Ratwata. Omalka Gunaratne, good ball out to Amila Bandara, who straightens it nicely, and Rehan Silva will drive over for the try on the left corner. That's better from CR&FC, and it looks like that try that was scored at the opposite end seems to have given them the required kick up the backside. That was much better play from them.
Yes, as you very correctly said, Shanak, I think they just needed a bit of a jolt, and Army gave that to them. To go over for CR's second try. So CR once again going to the lead. Let's just hope that from CR's point of view that this will be the start of for them to kick on from this position onwards.
Well, Army seem to have relaxed. That's when teams become vulnerable, when they score. So they will come back hard, that's for sure. That's exactly what they did after half-time. And certainly from this kickoff you can expect a galvanized Army team. Mubarak with a much more difficult kick than his last one. Knows how important this is, and it's just to the right hand side of the upright, so it stays 12 points to 10 with absolutely nothing in it so far. CR&FC will be pushing for that bonus point. They know they need all the points that they can get.
Yes, we've had more action in this first 6 minutes of the second half, Shanaka, rather than the 40 minutes in the first half. So hopefully it will continue. It also could be that both teams are now little by little finding their feet, getting a bit more understanding going, and hopefully that this will be the case for the remaining 35 minutes of this game.
Yes, indeed. Much more intensity in this second half than the entire first half. And the teams look to have found their rhythm a little bit. And Ratwata with a cross kick straight across to Sudaraka. Lovely bit of work to keep the ball in field from Amila Bandara. Dilanka Pereira does the same, and Rehan Silva rescues it. And now they've got nobody home at the back, Army. Shanaka Kumara goes back, but under serious pressure. Riza Mubarak trying to hold the Army player up. And this is where a counter ruck is needed for CR. Now one comes, maybe 5 seconds after they needed to do it. Army under pressure now. Shane Samada Peruma making a nuisance of himself. And Mohammad Rizvi will put that one into space, and that's not a good kick. Oh, that was lucky that the referee blew that one up there, because Omaka Gunaratna's kick through fell to Eranga Aryapala, and that could have been curtains for CR down the opposite flank.
Yes, a bit reckless by Omalka on that occasion. Although he had knocked had a fantastic opportunity to counter from that situation.
So you just cannot lose concentration in this game. All Aryapala had to do was swivel around and run towards the left corner flag. Manoj Silva, Rizvi, Ashan Bandara, Kasun Maduranga smashing it up. He's been doing that well for this Army team. Nice long ball from Rizvi to Kumara. Kumara finds Aryapala, and Tarinder Ratwata makes the tackle. It's lost now, and Kumara plays at scrum half. Manoj Silva. Here's Rizvi with the box kick again. Easily read that time by Mubarak. It's a high up and under right in the middle of the field. Again, not enough pressure from the CR chase. Dilanka Pereira coming straight off the side of that ruck. Maduranga makes a good run. And here's a good bust up the middle. Running onto that hard was Sampath Rosa. Mohammad Rizvi now with Army with their tails up. Asoka Jayala swivels, makes the ball available. Here's Bandara now to Madhuranga. Madhuranga gives it to Sudharaka. And Dikkumura gets pushed out into touch by Sashan Mohammed.
Yes, I think CR did very well on that occasion to maintain their defense structure. They didn't rush. They just drifted and forced Army to go towards the touchline and enable Sashan to just bundle his opposite number out. But Army, again, you just give them that little bit of opportunity or that little bit of room. They will always, they just need that a little bit of an opportunity to capitalize on, and CR just can't afford to do that, as I think we have a change. We see Shamal Veerasekara coming on for Ishan Noor, so a bit of fresh legs. The replacements already starting to be made as Supun gets ready to throw in.
That's an untidy line out from Army, and Shane Samadapiruma comes away with it. He's got pace for a prop forward and he's got power as well. Just bumps Dikkumar out of the way there, and Dilanka Pereira now. This is where the bench will come into play. Ratwat decides to hang on to it and gives it away, and here's Ashan Bandara. He won't be caught. Ashan Bandara and Rehan Silva and Ramdita Varnapura will look on in despair as Ashan Bandara runs that ball in from just a strip. Thaninda Ratwata will not want to see the replay there. After some excellent work from his captain and Dilanka Pereira, Ratwata just gives the ball away cheaply, and Ashan Bandara, that's all it takes to change an entire complexion of a game, and Army going to a well-deserved lead.
It's very Army once again going to the lead against the run of play, and CR need to be a bit careful because they do get themselves into good positions in this game, but always seem to give that opportunity for Army to fight back. So they have to be very careful, because as we spoke earlier, Shanaka, as this game goes on into the last quarter, if Army are in with a sniff, they will be very dangerous.
And the kick is good, so it's 15 points to 12. CR&FC will now slowly start to feel that pressure. And 2 tries against the run of play. Abdullah, the first try for CR and this final try for Army have come completely against the run of play, which shows that teams are not really protecting the ball the way that coaches would want them to.
It's just basic errors, isn't it, Shanaka? It's rugby. Sometimes you can overcomplicate it, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty simple game as long as you get your basics right, and so far both teams have been found wanting in that department.
Beautifully taken by Madhuranga. Army's restart efficiency has been really good. Sampath Rosa. And here's Rizvi thinking about the box kick again. It's less long this time, and Amalka Gunaratha takes it, this time safely. Tries to hold off Kasul Madhuranga. And CR regroup now. They go open side. Ratwata try to redeem himself, and that's a better tactic from Ratwata. Realizing that there's space behind Iranga Aryapala. Nice ball from Shanika Kumara. That's a lovely inside ball from Mohammad Rizvi. The tackle needs to be made. It is. And the Army fans' hearts in their mouths, heads in their hands, as that was a really unfortunate drop from Danushka Talvatta. It could have gone under the post there. The back 3 for Army doing really well. Shanika Kumara has been outstanding so far. Iranga Aryapala gets the ball away to Talvatta, who just can't hold on to it.
Yeah, a little bit of the Fijian player in that interplay on that rotation, Shanaka, by Army. But CR, they need to be a bit careful because they just seem to be losing the grip in this passage of play. And Army seems to have been slowly but surely gaining the upper hand. It's important that they rest control and just try and protect the ball over a few phases. They're turning possession over far too easily. They're kicking the ball. The chase isn't being accurate enough. and they're just letting Army get back into the game far too frequently.
Thirush Adhikaram coming in the second row, and for Army we've had Nalaka Madhuranga, who's replaced his captain Manoj Silva at number 8, and Manoj has moved to the blindside flank. Ratwat with the big thump upfield. Again to the danger man, Aryapala, who takes it well. Randita Varnapula wraps him up. And here's Rizvi. Lovely ball from Nalaka Madhuranga, and here's Rizvi again. Lovely ball again to Bandara. This is Talwata, holds on to it this time. Sudaraka Dikkubura puts the ball in back, and that's lost it forward. Oh dear, it's Talwata again. Excellent work from him here, Talwata. Lovely kick put in by Dikkubura. Real pressure, sets a cat among the pigeons. Ratwata leaves it behind, and oh dear, that's his second costly knock-on in as many minutes for Talwata. Here's Sashan Mohammed making way for Prince Charmer, I believe it is. But CR&FC really lucky to escape without conceding another try there.
Very, very lucky, Shanaka. And what lovely bit of skill on that occasion. Under pressure, the way they executed those passes, the CR defense was in tatters. And as you very clearly said, they're very, very lucky to get away with without conceding any points, as a matter of fact.
Well, it looks like Ratwata has been relieved of his duties after that kick and the 2 fumbles. And Ashan De Costa, with plenty of experience, comes in, the former captain. He will pair off with his brother at halfback. But you can see Ashoka Jailal rallying his troops in the front row there. He knows what an important scrum this is. Could be a game-changing scrum, in fact. De Costa's first touch has to be a defensive duty, clears it.
So Army slowly but surely gaining the ascendancy in this game. They're looking more and more threatening as the game has gone on. And I think CR will have to start changing the tide some form or the other. And for starters, I think they need to get their hands on the ball, because they have been kicking position away. The chase hasn't been accurate enough, and it's been given Army the opportunity to attack.
And that's another win in the line out for Army. Wasn't tidy, but it worked. It's a knock forward there, and let's see whether CR can do something with this turnover ball. Kokila Sammada Peruma. 2 sets of brothers on the field. Aryapala brothers on the bench, one on the bench for Army as well. So lots of family stuff going on here on the field. The Costa brothers and the Sammada Peruma brothers. To catch up with the action you might have missed over the weekend, join myself and Sabir on the breakdown of the Dialog Rugby League. That will be published on the ThePapare.com website. Another line out for Army. CR have had precious few lineouts, and that one Dilanka Pereira gets a hand to it, but Sampath Rosa cleans up at the end. And Mohammed Rizvi has been really good so far. Here's Randita Varnapura. Leaves it for Kavindu De Costa, who puts in a long kick. They let it bounce, but Shanaka Kumara lets it bounce only once and spots some space in for Omalka Gunaratna to cover. It's not a great pass to Prince Chamara. And the ball now bouncing. Nobody seems to want it. And Shanaka Kumara has to go all the way back. And Amila Bandara makes a huge hit just after the ball has been passed. If he got there half a second earlier, would have been a game changer. But there's Army conceding one of the very few penalties they have conceded in this game.
Yes, it was not quite by design, but on that occasion what happened is Shanaka, Prince Chamara's clearance kick managed to find some space at the back, and that gave CR the opportunity to get their defensive players up to put pressure on Army, and that resulted in a turnover. So it just clearly very shows that when you kick, you've got to first of all kick into space, and second of all you've got to have your teammates chasing the kick, because the kick is only as effective as the chase. So with that, CR get an opportunity to cut down this margin, and Riza, very reliable for CR as well as the national team over the years. I'm sure we'll be looking to put this over and narrow that gap to just a couple of points.
It's a very important kick. You're just in your first game, and Mubarak is expected to put over a real high-pressure kick. He's got a lot of movement in his peripheral vision with the Army medics around as well. And it looks like it doesn't bother him at all, as the kick is good. So they get within 2 points, do CR&FC, 15 points to 17, but they're still behind. And it doesn't matter if you finish a point behind or 5 points behind, you need to win in league competitions.
That's right. So I think first of all now CR from this kickoff, they just need to get possession. Just plant themselves in the Army half over the next 5 to 10 minutes and just try and exert some pressure, because so far it's been all Army in this second half.
Dilanka Pereira, who's bulked up quite a bit in the off-season, recovered from his injury as well. De Costa. They've got this covered pretty well, this box kick, so maybe it's time for CR to start thinking of something else. Manoj Silva gets tackled in the end by Randita Varnapura. And here's another box kick from Rizvi. And that's beautifully collected by Arya Pala, who's lost his headband but not the ball. And excellent work there by Kavindu De Costa to get in there and get his hands on the squeeze ball position. And Arya Pala has been a real thorn in the flesh for CR&FC. He's been chasing those kicks beautifully, as Abdullah has been talking about. So Mohammad Rizvi's up and unders have looked much more dangerous than Kavindu De Costa's, also probably because De Costa is getting a bit too much distance on them, Abdullah, instead of height.
Yes, could be one reason, but also I think Aryapala seems to be reading when the scrum half is going to make the box kick, and he's getting a start. I don't think Sashan Mohammed or Vagnapura have been doing that as effectively, because the advantage of making a box kick is one thing, it doesn't give the opposition time to react to it, because it's coming from either scrum or from a ruck, rather than when you pass the ball on to a fly half. So it's very crucial that it's not only the wing, it's also the fly half who charges the kick as well. And to Army's credit, I think the chasers have been much more effective along with the kick as well.
Finally, a line out for Supun Vannakulasuriya to throw into, and Shamal Veerasekara will take his first ball, but not straight, says the referee. Probably a tough call on that occasion. You can see that again. We'll see exactly where Shamal Veerasekara caught that, and he didn't help himself, Shamal.
There's a few hands on heads, but I think CR just have to push that aside. Can't let those kind of things just get on your psyche, especially in crucial situation like this. As we approach last 15 minutes of this game, CR yet trailing by 2 points.
Here's Rizvi with a short little kick taken there by Rehan Silva, who's quite a tall man for a back. And here's the bust up the middle from Dilanka Pereira, using the short side again. Here's the cutout pass to Reza Mubarak. Mubarak gets around one, holds on to the ball. And here's Sia through their captain, now Malka Gunaratna. He hasn't been as full of the running as we have seen him in the green jersey, in the red jersey. And here's some space now. Ashan Di Costa, he shovels it off. There's Prince Chamara and gets smacked in the head by Kamindu Di Costa for that careless bit of play. And watch it here. Here's Ashan Di Costa and Prince Chamara with a no-look pass. Just a shocking bit of play there, and you can see Di Costa there. He's so annoyed. He goes and smacks him in the back of the head.
It's not the first occasion that has happened in this game. Shanika Reza was guilty of it in the first half on a couple of occasions as well. So they have created opportunities, but it's just that last crucial pass. They haven't been able to get that to hand.
Yes, you have been lucky that there was an advantage being played there for a bit of foul play by Sudaraka Dikkumbura.
Yes, discipline is going to be very crucial in this last 15 minutes because you just don't want to get yourselves into positions where the opposition has a chance to launch an attacking plan from.
That's a better take from Shaukat Lahir. It's a straight throw and he managed to make sure he leaned over. Makes the referee believe it was straight sometimes even if it wasn't, so that more or less disintegrated. And the referee says that he'll come back for the penalty for coming in at the side. Sia will probably do well to take the scrum here.
Yeah, well, interesting call, Shanaka. I thought maybe another shot at a driving maul would have been a good call, but it's interesting to see what Shane has got up his sleeve here. Seems to be some animated discussions between him and Omalka what needs to happen next.
Well, what he's got up his sleeve is a number 8 forward who can really bash a few people with the ball in hand. So I think they've got a bit more confidence in their scrum than their line-out at the moment, and rightly so because they've been dominant in the scrum but not so much in the line-outs here. So there's no question that Omalka is going to be coming off the back of this. Well, he's not, and Amila Bandara is the man who's chosen. Crashes it up nicely. He's such a good player, Amila Bandara. Shaukat Lahir picks and goes, and this is where the CR forwards have to really keep the opposition guessing, play for each other, double up, and the lot will remain on how Dinka Piris referees this next few passages of play. Lahir does well to go again, but he's isolated himself. Here's Dilanka Pereira trying to barge his way over the line, and yes, it's there. Dilanka Pereira scores, so he's using his bulk. A good substitution made at halftime to bring him into the play, and he's made a big difference coming in.
Yes, again, Sia have always looked throughout this game very dangerous when they've tried to pick and play the ball at close quarters. And their forwards seem to be much more technically adept at that kind of play rather than trying to play with more width. And on that occasion as well, they just caught the Army defense snapping. As you can see, there are some good pick and goes by Lahir first, and then Dilanka Piris on that occasion with just a few meters away from the try line going over. So CR have done well against the momentum seemed to be against them, but they've done well to grab the lead once again. And as we approach the last 10 minutes of the game, I'm sure they would expect them to try and extend this lead, because against this Army team you just cannot sit back and try and defend the lead. They have just got to continue attacking and to do it very wisely. So far the Army's Achilles heel seems to be around the fringe area when CR seem to pick the ball and do the pick and goes, and I think they would do well to first of all get into that Army half and then try and use that tactic as much as possible.
So again, not good news for Sia, as Shamal Veerasekara seems to have a few problems with his ankle, as Reza Mubarak knocks that one over to give Sia a lead for the first time since half-time. And that will be real problems if Veerasekara has to go off. Riza Mubarak steady as ever. Just missed a one kick so far. So this is where we talked about the last 20 minutes, Abdullah. We are well into it now. The last 11 or 12 minutes coming up on the clock. And this is where games are won and lost most often. And Army will need to make sure that going into this last 10 minutes, they bring the same kind of intensity they brought into the first 10 minutes of the second half. Aryapala again full of running. Gets up, tries to tackle Supun Vandakulasuriya, but Vandakulasuriya makes good ground. Haven't seen him too much with the ball in hand. Again the box kick coming from Kavinda De Costa. Rizvi waits. The chase is better this time. Lahir gets up there, makes the tackle. Army now copying what CR did a few moments ago, picking and going. Sumedha Nanayakkara. Here's a short side, opens up once again for Army. Mohammad Rizvi, that's nice quick ball. Sampath Rosa tackled nicely by Omalka Gunaratna that time. Shamal Veerasekara shooting up quickly. Great line speed, back on his feet as well. His coach will be proud of that bit of play. And here's Ashan Bandara, the man who scored the try to put Army into the lead. Kicks it straight down the throat of Riza Mubarak, who has this ball on a shoestring. And Shanaka Kumara compelled to put that into touch. CR will think about playing it quickly, but decide instead to go all the way back and play the steady line out. So this is where the kind of experienced heads like Mubarak will need to make sure that CR&FC don't throw it away in this last 10 minutes, because it's still Army's game to take.
Yes, very much so. And Riza on that occasion showing his experience, as very correctly said Shanaka, finding space at the back, forcing Army to clear their lines, and CR now have another opportunity to launch an attack. I'd like to see them keeping it a bit tight rather than playing with too much width, because so far they have seemed more threatening whenever they have done that.
Supun Vandakulasuriya goes to the back, nicely taken by Veerasekara, but there's no scrum half anywhere there. That was pretty dangerous. Now there is one in the form of Kavinda De Costa, who goes back 20 meters to rescue that ball. And now Supun Vandakulasuriya. Yes, yeah, just taking that up by inches, and that's a lovely kick from Kavinda De Costa. Outstanding kick, in fact. And log into ThePapare.com for an in-depth analysis of tactics and game plans for the Dialog Rugby League with Sabir, as he takes you back to the board. It's a fun segment that I think a lot of coaches and players find very useful in our analysis of the weekend's rugby matches.
Just getting back to the game, I think Kavindu has been very good in this game for CR Shanaka. I think on many occasions he has managed to relieve pressure and has used that box kick as an attacking weapon as well. It's just that I think he's got to get his chasers also in line with his thinking when he's going to execute it. Because if they can get that right, he's able to find space at the back, and if the chasers also manage to exert the necessary pressure, I think going forward it'll be a very important tool for CR.
Amila Bandar on the floor for CR&FC is a man who's been plagued by injuries in his CR&FC career. Joined the CR after his stint at the Upcountry Lions. Seems to be alright. Mohammad Rizvi also on the top of your screen manages to get back onto his feet, which is good news, very good news for Army, because he has been the fulcrum around which this Army performance has functioned. They will need him back at 100% for the next 10 minutes. So CR now will try to disrupt this Army line out. Nalaka Maduranga has been excellent. And that's untidy ball, so well done by the number 2 jumper for CR there. Sampath Rosa, he's the man that they've used to batter this French defense. Here's Rizvi. doing what he's been doing all evening, Prince Chamara. So, bit of a dangerous ball to Mubarak, but Mubarak manages to find Randita Varnapura with a pass behind Rehan Silva. Rehan Silva steps back inside, manages to go to ground, should probably have stayed with the outside ball, and here's Kamindu de Costa, Shane Samadaperuma now the captain, to his brother who brings it back in field. They've got to open it up, CR&FC. Omalka Gunaratne, 3 players trying to drag him down. Asoka Jalal eventually succeeds in doing so. And the penalty is coming to CR&FC, so this is a free play for them. Amila Bandara, Randita Varnapura. Varnapura gets through 1, gets through 2. And here's, oh dear, Riza Mubarak leaves that one behind. The pass was just a little too hard from Kamindu de Costa. They can smile about it now because they know they've got the penalty. But it wasn't... what do you do now? Abdullah, you've got momentum. Do you go into the corner? They've already made the call, but do you think it's the right call from Shane to go for the 8-point gap?
Yes, Shanak, I think it's the correct call. Riza seems to have got his kicking boots on today, so just getting this with 5 minutes to go, just to push this game out of Army's reach, which means they have to get 2 scores. I think they will be more than pleased with that, because as you're talking earlier, going into the last few minutes, you don't want Army with just 1 score away. That will always put a lot of pressure on CR, and the way Army have counter-attacked in this game, they have shown some glimpses of magic. You just don't want to give them that sniff.
So the call made by Shane Samadaperuma to try and take Army to 2 scores to win the game. So if they get an 8-point gap, that's going to mean that they can relax a little bit. Mubarak strikes it clean. And you can see why coach Ben McDougall was so anxious to have him in his squad at the start of the season. Brings so much confidence to our game plan as well. Riza Mubarak, real steady player with the boot. You know what you'll get from him. And Army now really need to throw the kitchen sink at the red shirts. Madhuranga starts the process by making a tackle on Omalka Gunaratne. Kamindu de Costa again with that long box kick. Aryapala, Randita Varnapura needs to make the tackle, but Manoj De Silva gets the ball from Aryapala in a good offload. Shaukat Lahir slows it down nicely. Asoka Jala with a lovely short ball. Here's Rizvi to Sampath Rosa. Supun Vannakulusuriya making that tackle, and Rizvi goes all the way back to Ashan Bandara, who was yelling for it. This is Dikkumaro, who we really haven't seen too much of his space today. In fact, it's a new man. This is the Senanayaka. Here's Shanika Kumara. And now Aryapala gets through too. Iranga Aryapala has been outstanding this game. Throws the pass out the back door. Beautiful work. He's almost single-handedly kept this Army team in the game. And here's the big man, Sumed Ananiakkara, keeps it alive for Army. They've still got a sniff. Ashan Bandara acts as scrum half. Asoka Jailal. Sali makes the tackle. Here's Salinder. Manoj Silva, the captain. Rizvi looks both ways. Decides to go on the open side. And the penalty is coming. Not rolling away. Omalka Gunaratne had his hands all over the ball. So Army will go for the quick short tap. Question to be asked as to whether the CR players were onside. Doesn't matter because it looks like the try has been scored. But the referee says no. 10 meters. So with 2 minutes to go, Abdullah, we have to discuss a man of the match. And we're still not sure who's going to win this game either. Beautiful work by Iranga Aryapala here.
Probably if Army would go to win this match, I'd probably go for that number 14 Aryapala. I thought he's been fantastic along with Strum of Rizvi. But I think for the way they have controlled this game, I'd have to go with Kavindu Costa from CR because I think his box kicks, the way he's managed to marshal his forwards, I think he's made a very big difference to that very inexperienced CR pack.
He has indeed. He's shown a lot of heavy work rate as well, made some good hits in defense. And this is a really sad sight for Army, especially in their first match. You could see Aryapala clutching his hamstring. And he's had an outstanding game. Scored a try, set up a couple. And this is really bad news. If this is a long-term injury for Aryapala, it could be a huge blow for Army. And it's nice to see him get a big round of applause off the field because he has really been superb. But that high hamstring injury can be a fairly long layoff if it's bad. And we hope for the sake of the Army team that Aryapala's injury is not a bad one. So CR have to desperately defend here. Shamir Fajuddin comes on for the last few seconds or minutes of this game. Nalaka Maduranga. Fajuddin makes a tackle as he comes on. Rizvi looks for the long ball out to Kasun Maduranga, who has been the powerhouse in this Army backline. Everyone's asking for the ball. Here's Ranjan Jayaratna for Army carrying it forward, the new man. Super little short ball from the loose head to the tight head. Sampath Rosa makes a few meters. Here's Gayan Salinda. He's got a bit of electric pace. Manoj De Silva dummies and goes through. Beautiful bit of work from Manoj De Silva. You could see it coming a mile away. The CR defensive line just wasn't going to hold. And as soon as Manoj De Silva saw the gap opening up, he committed the defender and a lovely little subtle dummy and a Dane Coles-like try for the Army captain.
Yes, CR defense on that occasion just not communicating, Shanaka. They needed to drift across. There are far too many people who had got consumed at the breakdown, and that just gave Army the opportunity to have numbers out wide. And it would be interesting to see after this kick whether the long whistle will go, whether there'll be one more play.
Gayan Salinda was a little erratic with his kicking last season. At the end of it, he was one of the top point scorers, and he's been relegated to the bench this season. But he comes on and makes an all-important conversion to bring Army within 1 point of this game. Do we still have a twist left in the tail?
Yes, referee Dinkapiri seems to indicate that it's going to be the last move. So it'll be interesting to see the option Reza takes. Will he go short? Will he go long? But whatever he does, I think the chase has to be spot on, because if they give Army too much room, then they could pay a heavy price.
Yes, most of the players, like a sevens kickoff, have lined up on one side of the field, which means that they have to crack back quickly now. Rizvi passes it to nobody. Samada Peruma tries to make the tackle. Nalaka Maduranga has been outstanding for Army as well. And here it is, a nice little short ball again, which does the trick. Supun Vannakulusuri with a dangerous setback there, and Ashan Di Costa using his experience and awareness to just dump this ball out. And the referee says that they've still got time. It's in the 82nd minutes, which means that we've still got time to play. And Ashan Di Costa, will he come back to rue that decision? Obviously was going on what he thought was the referee's assurance that it was the last play of the game. But CR really under pressure here. 1 point game. Maduranga, superb ball. Chamira Silva. Sorry, that's Mahesh Veerasinghe, who's on the field for Army now. Gayan Salinda with a nice ball out to Rizvi. Beautifully presented. Here's Manoj De Silva again, the man who scored the try that brought Army right back into this game. Sampath Rosa, they need some speedsters to get their hands on it now just to create a few problems for the CR defense. Supun Vannakula Surya manages to get in there and rock the game, and that's the match. And my goodness, what a close one it's been, and everybody was talking about a one-horse race, but this is going to be a really tough season if this match is anything to go by. You can see both sets of players completely fagged out on the ground, and it's a one-point game between Army and CR&FC, 25 points to 24. A heart-in-mouth kind of game, fingernail-biting stuff here at the racecourse, but CR&FC coming away with a really hard-fought victory in the end, but nothing much to show for it in the end.
Shanak, it was a contrast of two halves, wasn't it? First half was both teams trying to find their feet as we have a look at the tries. Tharindra Ratwata going over for the first try for CR&FC, which was converted by Mubarak. And then Army's retaliating with a penalty, and that was the only scoring in that first half. And then within the first 5 minutes of the second half, Aryapala latched onto a ball and followed it up very well to go in for Army's first try, and they got the lead, and CR retaliated almost immediately with Rehan Pereira going over after a very well executed move.
Here's where the game completely changed. Abdullah Ashan Bandara ripping that ball from Tharindra Ratwata's grasp and running all of 70 meters down the field. That really lit up the Army eyes.
Yes, very uncharacteristic mistake by Tharindra, but Riza had a very good game at the back as well as with his kicks today. Very good signing for CR during the off-season, and during the latter stages of the game, CR just sneaking ahead through Dialog Rugby is going over and getting the lead, and Mubarak doing the honors with the kick, and I think it was that score that eventually gave them this win. And then on the stroke of half-time, Army, after taking a quick tap, early number 8 of Army, De Silva going over, and that was the final score, 25 points to 24. So the player of the match, Kavinder Costa, I thought was quite brilliant with a rather sedate CR team, still finding their feet. They will need to kick on from this performance because they will be going up to Valisara next week against a very experienced and formidable Navy team, Shanaga.
Yes, that match is going to be a really difficult one for them if the first week's performance is anything to go by, because Navy were very good against police in difficult conditions, and here Army have really forced CR&FC to play a very average brand of rugby. They haven't allowed CR into a free-flowing style, and with the kind of injuries that they've had and with their key players perhaps sometimes failing to turn up today, CR&FC will count themselves very lucky to have escaped this game by the skin of their teeth.
Yes, I don't think we should take any credit away from Army as well. They definitely turned up. Not many people gave them a chance of coming so close. They had the opportunities of even snatching this game at crucial moments, but CR just holding their nerve, and through the, I think, the reliable kicking of Riza, managed to sneak over.
Yes, we had 9 points from Riza Mubarak's boot, which was really crucial for the CR&FC team. In fact, it was 11 points actually from 9 points from Riza's boot. So Kavinder Costa was the only live wire, the only guy who seemed like he was playing with any sense of urgency throughout their 80 minutes. And that's something Coach Ben McDougall is going to have to address. For Army, of course, I don't think there's a lot they need to change. They just were not lucky enough to come away with the win today, but for them it's back to the drawing board to do the same thing over and over and over and over again, and I think this Army team could trouble some of the top teams in the or the fancied teams, I should say, in this Dialog Rugby League 2016-17. So that's it for the first weekend of Dialog Rugby League action. We'll come to you with the breakdown in the course of the week. Sabir will take you back to the board as well, and we'll be back next week with all the live action.
video revolution is here. Introducing Dialog View.
Experience 3,000 hours of international movies and teleseries, hundreds of Sri Lankan movies and teledramas, over 100 channels with catch-up and rewind TV, and the best of Sri Lankan and international sports live.
Be a part of the video revolution. Download the Dialog View app and enjoy the widest choice of entertainment at any time, anywhere on any network. Dialog View. It's video unlimited.
Swipe and type on one great device. Introducing the Dialog WinPad powered by Windows. Get the convenience of a tab and laptop all in one with its detachable keyboard. Stay on top of your busy work schedule. Be connected and up to date from assignments to surfing on the go. Dialog WinPad, a 10.1 Microsoft Windows tab with 3G HSPA Plus and Wi-Fi for just 25,990 rupees. Connect, work, surf, play. Anywhere in Sri Lanka with the fastest network. For more information, dial 1777. Dialog, the future today.